One day, someone you love just disappears from your life. No fight, no argument, no warning, just silence. It could be your closest friend, a sibling, or someone you trusted deeply. One moment they're present, the next nothing for the person left behind. It feels like a scream in an empty room. You check your phone, replay every conversation, search for a clue. Did I miss a sign? Did I do something wrong? But for the person who walked away, that silence feels like the first breath of fresh air they've had in years, maybe even a decade. This isn't about labeling anyone as cold or cruel. Today, we step inside both worlds, the one who leaves quietly and the one left behind. We explore why cutting people off can be an act of survival, and why sometimes the quiet exit is the only way forward. Disappearing from someone's life rarely happens on impulse. It's often the final chapter of a story written over years. Imagine a bridge. Each time someone feels unheard, every act of overgiving, every moment they bend to accommodate others, a tiny crack forms. People with a high tolerance for emotional labor, those who forgive, who overextend, who always give, spend years patching these cracks. They tell themselves, "It's okay, I can handle this. I can fix it." Psychologists call this the high tolerance trap. Research shows that individuals high in agreeableness, one of the big 5 personality traits, endure more relational stress than average, Graziano and Eisenberg, 1997. But even the most giving person has a limit. Every act of kindness, every late-night call, every ignored need chips away at their emotional reserves. Eventually, the battery runs out. And when it does, they don't explode in anger. Anger takes energy. Instead, they withdraw calmly. This is the point of no return. Leaving isn't revenge. It's survival. Our bodies are wired to protect themselves. When relationships become chronically stressful, the nervous system accumulates what researchers call allostatic load. The physical toll of repeated emotional strain, McEwen, 1998. For the person stepping away, interacting, explaining, or negotiating feels like running a marathon with broken legs. Silence isn't coldness. It's the brain and body saying, "I cannot survive this anymore." The INFJ door slam is a well-known example in personality psychology. When cognitive load is too high, the brain defaults to freeze or flee rather than fight. Cutting people off quietly is a nervous system reclaiming balance. At some point, something subtle happens. Not dramatic, not explosive, just enough to slip under everyone's radar. Picture this. You've always been a dependable one. The friend who answers every call, the sibling who shows up, the listener who carries everyone's burdens. You've helped people through heartbreak, illness, anxiety, always willingly. Then one day, you reach out during a moment of personal need, maybe a real emergency. The responses trickle in. "I'm busy today. I'll call later. I have something important going on." Some don't respond at all. And quietly, a realization emerges. I was already alone, even surrounded by people, even in friendships. The emotional weight has been yours to bear alone. This understanding arrives not with drama, but like sunlight breaking through blinds in a room you've sat in for years. Once this realization sets in, behavior begins to change. You start saying no to things you once said yes to automatically. You stop answering calls immediately. You stop volunteering emotional energy for problems that were never yours to solve. And this is where relationships transform. Boundaries have an invisible effect. People who respected you all along will understand. Those who benefited from your generosity may feel discomfort, push back, or accuse you of being cold or distant. The truth is simple. You didn't become distant. You stopped overextending. It's like a table leaning on one leg for years. When that leg straightens, the structure wobbles. Some relationships collapse in that wobble. Not all withdrawal is healthy. Sometimes people construct walls instead of boundaries. A boundary is a doorway. You may enter, but under conditions that protect me. A wall is a blockade. No one gets in at all. Boundaries allow connection. Walls block both the harmful and the healthy. Many who cut people off build walls as a response to repeated overgiving. When closeness has consistently drained energy, total distance feels safest. Yet walls aren't always permanent. Often, they're temporary shelters, places to rest after emotional exhaustion, to recover before engaging again. After years of overextending, a subtle shift begins. The person who has always given more starts noticing their own limits. They begin to wake up to their boundaries, the invisible lines that protect their time, energy, and emotional well-being. This isn't sudden. It starts small, a delayed response, a polite no, a refusal to absorb someone else's stress when they're already drained. These are the first gestures of self-preservation. For the person left behind, these changes can feel confusing, even painful. The dependable friend or caring partner seems distant. But what is unfolding is boundary formation, not coldness. Psychologists call this betrayal sensitivity, a heightened awareness that repeated overgiving has often been met with indifference or inconsistency. Coupled with emotional exhaustion, this awareness drives the need for boundaries. When one is given too much for too long, the nervous system signals, I can no longer stretch myself beyond my limits without harm. Boundaries are fundamentally self-reclamation. They allow the person to reconnect with themselves, rediscover autonomy, and regain emotional energy. Unlike walls, boundaries are not meant to isolate. They define safe conditions for engagement. This awakening is a turning point. The person realizes, my time is valuable. My emotional health matters. I deserve reciprocity, respect, and care. And with this realization, the world starts to look different. Relationships that relied on overgiving reveal their true balance. Some will adjust and respect the new limits. Others, who thrived on imbalance, may resist or retreat. This is not about punishment. It is a natural consequence of establishing healthy boundaries, a psychological and biological response to years of emotional labor and unmet needs. Cutting people off is often not anger. It's a reunion with oneself. For years, the person leaving has poured energy outward. Somewhere along the way, they stop checking in with their own needs, limits, and well-being. The silent exit allows them to reclaim their quiet, their peace, their autonomy, their emotional center. It's not about punishment. It's about rediscovering who they were before becoming everyone else's caretaker. For the person left behind, silence can feel unbearable. Your mind searches for answers, closure, moments when it went wrong. Neither perspective is simple. Neither is entirely right or wrong. At the heart of every relationship are two nervous systems, two histories, and two emotional worlds trying to coexist. Sometimes these worlds grow together. Sometimes they drift apart. And sometimes one person finally realizes they've been standing alone on a bridge for a long time and steps off, not to hurt anyone, but to stand on solid ground again. So why do people reach this point? Why do some leave quietly without confrontation? Psychology identifies several key factors. Emotional exhaustion and compassion fatigue. Years of giving can deplete energy, making withdrawal the only way to restore balance. Boundary formation. Stepping back allows a person to honor their needs and preserve emotional health. Betrayal sensitivity. Past neglect or being taken for granted makes them hyper-aware of imbalance, attachment, and personality patterns. Individuals with certain personality traits or insecure attachments may leave when needs go unmet. Graziano and Eisenberg, 1997. Self. Preservation and autonomy. The silent exit is a method to regain control and protect mental well-being. Understanding these patterns shows that leaving is rarely impulsive. It's often a result of years of emotional labor, subtle disappointments, and internal warning signals. What may appear as coldness is often a deeply human response to protect oneself. Relationships are complex. They involve empathy, emotional labor, boundaries, and human limits. Sometimes silence feels cruel. Sometimes it's necessary for survival. Often, it's a quiet way of reclaiming oneself after years of unbalanced giving. Next time someone disappears, or you feel the need to step away, ask yourself, are you running from them or running toward yourself? Understanding this psychology doesn't just explain behavior. It gives permission to feel, to heal, and to protect your emotional world. But there's another layer to the psychology that often goes unnoticed. When someone cuts people off, it isn't always about a single relationship. Sometimes, it reflects a deeper shift in how they see connection itself. After repeated emotional imbalance, the person begins to question not just individuals, but patterns. They start noticing how often they were the one initiating, the one fixing, the one absorbing tension. Over time, this awareness creates distance, not only externally, but internally. They begin to detach from the role they once played, the helper, the mediator, the dependable one. And letting go of that role can feel both liberating and terrifying. Because when you stop being the one who holds everything together, you're forced to ask a difficult question. Who am I when I'm not needed? For many people, cutting others off is intertwined with identity. If their sense of worth was built on being reliable, generous, or endlessly available, stepping back creates a vacuum. There is space where constant activity once lived. That space can feel uncomfortable at first. Silence is unfamiliar. The absence of emotional noise feels strange. Yet slowly, that quiet becomes grounding. This is where healing often begins. The person who walks away starts to reconnect with small things, uninterrupted time, clearer thoughts, emotional steadiness. Decisions become less reactive. Their nervous system gradually shifts from survival mode into regulation. Instead of scanning for others' needs, they start noticing their own. But this transformation is rarely linear. Doubt creeps in. They wonder if they were too harsh, too distant, too extreme. They replay memories just as the person left behind does. Because despite the silence, attachment doesn't vanish overnight. There may be moments when they consider reaching out again, not because the dynamics change, but because loneliness surfaces. Human beings are wired for connection, and even unhealthy connections can feel safer than isolation. This is why some people oscillate. They step away, return briefly, and then withdraw again. It isn't inconsistency. It's the nervous system negotiating between familiarity and safety. Eventually, however, clarity settles in. They realize that peace is not the absence of people, but the absence of constant emotional strain. And from that clarity, a new kind of boundary emerges. Not one built on avoidance, but one built on discernment. They begin choosing relationships more carefully. They pay attention to reciprocity. They notice who listens, who shows up, who respects their limits. This doesn't mean they become cold or detached. In fact, many become more compassionate, but with direction. Instead of giving indiscriminately, they give where there is mutual care. This is an important distinction. Cutting people off is often misunderstood as emotional shutdown. In reality, it can be emotional refinement. The person isn't closing their heart. They're becoming selective about where their energy flows. From the outside, this shift can look like distance. From the inside, it feels like alignment. For the person left behind, this stage can be confusing. They may see the other person thriving, calmer, more self-assured. It raises difficult questions. Why couldn't they be that version with me? Why didn't they communicate sooner? Was the relationship not meaningful enough to fight for? These questions are valid. Being cut off can feel like losing access to a shared history without explanation. It disrupts closure. But often, the silence is not about lack of care. It's about lack of capacity. When someone reaches emotional exhaustion, even healthy communication can feel overwhelming. Explaining years of internal buildup requires energy they no longer have. Silence becomes the simplest, though imperfect, solution. This is where empathy for both sides becomes essential. The person who leaves may not have communicated clearly. The person left behind may genuinely not have realized the imbalance. Both realities can exist simultaneously. Relationships rarely collapse because one person is entirely wrong. More often, they unravel because needs were mismatched, boundaries were unclear, and emotional labor was unevenly distributed. Understanding this helps soften the narrative. Instead of seeing the silent exit as abandonment, it can sometimes be viewed as a delayed boundary, one that should have formed gradually, but instead appeared all at once. And when boundaries arrive suddenly, they feel sharper. Another psychological factor is fear of confrontation. Many people who cut others off are not comfortable with conflict. They avoid arguments, minimize tension, and internalize frustration. For years, they stay quiet to keep the peace. But unresolved feelings accumulate beneath the surface. When they finally withdraw, it seems abrupt. even though internally, the process has been unfolding for a long time. This is sometimes called the silent buildup. The person doesn't express dissatisfaction in real time, so others never see the warning signs. By the time they leave, they feel they've already tried, even if those attempts were invisible. From the outside, it looks sudden. From the inside, it feels overdue. There's also a protective instinct at play. Some individuals believe that explaining their reasons will lead to guilt, persuasion, or pressure to stay. To avoid being pulled back into the same dynamics, they choose distance. It's not always the healthiest strategy, but it's understandable. Distance creates clarity. It removes emotional noise. It allows them to see relationships without the influence of obligation. And in that clarity, they learn something important. Not every connection is meant to last forever. Some relationships serve a purpose during certain phases of life. They provide comfort, growth, or companionship for a time. But as people evolve, their needs change. Cutting someone off can sometimes reflect growth, painful but necessary. The person is no longer aligned with dynamics that once felt normal. This doesn't invalidate the past. It simply acknowledges that people change. For the person left behind, this realization can also be healing. Instead of searching endlessly for fault, they can recognize that relationships sometimes end not because of a single mistake, but because both individuals outgrew the same space. And from this perspective, the silent exit becomes less about rejection and more about divergence. Two paths separating. Two nervous systems moving toward different forms of safety. Understanding this doesn't erase the hurt, but it transforms confusion into insight. Because at its core, the psychology of someone who cuts people off is not about cruelty. It's about self-preservation, identity, emotional balance, and a gradual realization that peace sometimes requires distance. And perhaps the most important part is this. People who cut others off are not always closing doors forever. Often, they are learning how to build doors in the first place. Doors that can open and close, instead of walls that isolate completely. They are learning how to stay connected without losing themselves. They are learning that boundaries are not barriers to love, but conditions that allow love to exist safely. So whether you are the one who stepped away or the one left behind, the psychology remains deeply human. Two people trying to protect themselves. Two emotional worlds shaped by experience. Two nervous systems searching for balance. And sometimes the quietest endings are not failures. They are transitions into healthier beginnings.